Welcome back from the break. In this module, you'll learn how Microsoft Teams devices that can be used to complement your voice deployment, including Teams phone and display, and how Microsoft Teams Room integrate with a voice deployment. You'll also understand the option for deployment and which to utilize and when, and how to manage devices within your Teams voice environment. Upon completion of this module, you should be able to understand scenario for using Teams phone, Teams display, and Microsoft Teams Room with voice services, differentiate between the different options for deployment and management of devices, deploy Teams phone and Teams displays, configure voice services for Microsoft Teams Room, manage Teams devices in the Teams Admin Center. Let's get started with Module 5. So we'll be talking about managing Microsoft Teams Phone at first. Microsoft Teams Phone are designed for users who require a traditional phone experience. Teams Phone are based upon the Android platform but are not running the Teams mobile app. They use a specific Android version and software designed by Microsoft for Teams with phone-specific functionality. Provisioning, configuration, and ongoing updates are managed using the Teams Admin Center. You can set and forget updates with automatic updates or manage devices update manually. You can also create configuration profiles to set different settings and features for different groups of Teams devices, such as those shown here. Next, we'll talk about managing Microsoft Teams Room system. Microsoft Teams Rooms include Windows-based devices and Android-based devices. Devices designed for smaller rooms such as collaboration bars typically use Android-based Microsoft Teams Room devices and were known as collaboration bars until recently. Android-based Microsoft Teams Room devices run similar software to Teams IP phones, display, and panels and are managed in a similar way. Display will be mentioned later in the lesson. Teams panels are different from the monitor panels connected to the Microsoft Teams Room devices. Typically refers to the digital room signage display typically outside the meeting room and provide a touchscreen booking capacity notification outside the room and the ability to have room-specific apps deployed. You can also use Azure Log Analytics to gain telemetry or use a Pro license from Microsoft to allow Microsoft to provide this as a service to you. A device account, typically the room mailbox, is required, and this is what is used to sign in to the device. You will manage the Windows-based Microsoft Teams Room devices like a PC. They can be AD joined, but you should consider ensuring the device is secure, but not applying your typical group policy to the devices. They are running Windows 10 IoT Enterprise and designed as appliances. Microsoft Teams Room devices at the time of writing, which is Windows, can join third-party meetings from providers such as Zoom and WebEx via direct guest join. For older style PSTN conference bridge number, your user might need to join with a third-party external company. Dial-out capability might be required. Finally, Android-based Microsoft Teams Room devices also allow personal mode, allowing a user to sign in as themselves. This might be useful for personal officers or executive remote workers. Let's talk more about managing Microsoft Teams Room. Once Microsoft Teams Room systems are signed in, they are managed like other Teams devices such as phones, display, and panels. The Teams Admin Center provides a UI for management for each distinctive device type with policy relevant to each device type. Windows-based Microsoft Teams Room devices or Android-based Microsoft Teams Room devices, and is available for configuration. Devices can be marked by tags, which will be explained later in the module. To make it easier to manage large number of devices such as boardrooms or huddle room, or perhaps location, core information such as device stage, update level, and the ability to reboot or see attached peripheral, such as finding out if a camera is attached, is available in the UI. This is where the main day-to-day management for Teams Room system will be conducted. Now we'll talk more about managing Microsoft Teams display. These are designed to provide a more modern experience than a desk phone and allow for a richer Teams experience, either as a standalone device or as a companion to a laptop or desktop. New scenarios for usage include hot desking support with check-in option on the phone to reserve a desk space. These mirror consumer experiences that users now expect in the workspace. However, the devices are manageable and meet standards and criteria defined by Microsoft to ensure a good experience. The management of these devices is similar to Teams IP phones. The picture shows two examples of typical Teams display devices. We will now talk about remote provisioning and sign-in for Teams Phone. IT admins can remotely provision and sign into a Teams Android device. This is useful when deploying devices to many desks and reducing the need for first sign-in and setup by the end user. It enables technicians to provide device information and verification code to IT admins, who can then, once a device is allocated to the user shortly after, ensuring the device is ready to use. To provision a device remotely, the admin needs to upload the MAC ID of the devices being provisioned and create a verification code. The entire process can be completed remotely from the Teams Admin Center. Besides remote provisioning and sign-in for Teams Phone, you can also update Microsoft Teams devices remotely using the Microsoft Teams Admin Center. You can update your Teams devices such as Teams Phone, Teams Panel, and Collaboration Bar remotely, and you can choose device firmware automatic update behavior. You can update the following on your devices using the Teams Admin Center: Teams App and Teams Admin Agent, Company Portal App, OEM Agent App, and device firmware. The device firmware updates can either be applied automatically or scheduled for a future date and time. Other available device updates are not applied automatically, but can be applied manually or scheduled for a future date and time. This can be very useful when you need to test new device updates and document features before deploying them to users, or when scheduling updates to devices outside of business hours. The Teams Admin Center shows version numbers to verify successful updates. We talked about devices can be marked by tag earlier. Hence, let's discuss further how to manage Microsoft Teams device tags. Device tags in Microsoft Teams let you group, organize, and easily manage the devices you have deployed in your organization. Device tags are often used in large organizations to be able to sort and filter devices based on something meaningful to the organization, such as a tag for executive devices, contact center devices, or particular category of meeting room you have planned. With the Microsoft Teams Admin Center, you can add one or more tags to devices and use filters to view devices that match the tag you specify, and then perform action on the devices that have that tag. To manage device tag, you need a privileged account member of one of the following roles: Global Admin, Teams Service Admin, or Teams Device Admin. You can add a device tag to more than one device type. However, when you open a device pane in the Microsoft Teams Admin Center, only the devices of that type are written. So let me give you an example. So you can assign the corporate tag to both phones and Teams Room devices. If you search for the corporate tag while in devices, phones, only phones are returned. Similarly, if you search for the corporate tab in devices, Teams Room, only Teams Room devices are returned. If you have added device tags to your devices, you can use them to filter the device list to return only the devices that have had a specific tag added to them. This can be very helpful if you just want to view all the devices in a specific room and all the devices of a certain type or any other criteria you use when adding your tags. If you need to perform bulk action against all phones in a contact center, ensuring they have a tag set will allow you to do this easily and ensure you do not apply those changes to executive or receptionists. You can also perform bulk action on return devices, such as applying updates in Wave or setting different configuration policy depending on the group of devices identified using device tag. Next, I will show you a demo on how to configure and manage Teams devices. So right now we'll be looking at managing Teams devices. We'll begin the provision process for a Teams phone and then create and license an account to use with a Microsoft Teams room. So let's perform a remote provisioning of Teams phone. So right now, let's go to the Microsoft Teams Admin Center. So we'll select Teams devices. So under phones, and we'll select actions on the upper right corner. Then from the drop-down menu, select provision devices. Then the provision devices page show. So under waiting for activation, you will select add MAC address manually. So you can enter the MAC address like AB, maybe like AB DE 2143 and then EF 56. Alright, so for the location, you can enter the location for the Teams IP phone. So in a production environment, you will enter the actual MAC address of the device you want to connect. So select save, and this will be provisioned under the under the phones, right? Yeah. So since there are no physical phones to connect in the lab environment, so the lab is completed here. So right now we'll create license and enable enterprise voice for a Microsoft Teams Room account. So right now we'll be going back to Microsoft 365 Admin Center. Alright, so and then we'll be going to change the account to the administrator. Okay, let's log in again with the admin account. Alright, so under the billing and then choose purchases services. So let's search for Microsoft Teams Room. So you'll see a list of available services. Alright, so you can choose something like Microsoft Teams Room Basics right here and then check on the details. And if this is the needed one, then you can buy it. Of course, if you can see here, is zero cost. Yeah. So with that, yeah, we are already from here you can enable the enterprise voice for the Microsoft Teams Room account. In the following task, we will prepare to manage devices by creating tabs in the Teams Admin Center. So right now, let's get back to the Teams Admin Center. Oops, not this one. So we'll go to this. So we'll go to select team devices, then go to phones. So from the action, we will select all devices tag. And from the manage tag dialog, we will select add. We'll enter something like executive and choose save icon. We'll select add again. So adding in contact center and select the save icon. So select cancel to close the manage tab dialog. So as devices are provisioned or joined, they will be displayed in the device section of the Teams Admin Center. Although no devices are available during right now, you expect after a device is added that you can then assign the tags to the device by selecting the device in the list. Yeah, and then selecting manage tag, then searching for a tag and selecting apply. Yeah. After applying a tag to devices, you can then use the search bar in the device list to select what you want to search by. Alright, so and then choosing tags. Yeah, enter the tags that you have assigned to devices, and these devices will be displayed in the search result. And with that, we have ended the demo for this exercise. This concludes our Microsoft 365 Virtual Training Day. Microsoft Teams Phone. Let's recap all the content that you have seen. In this course, we have covered plan for Teams Phone, configure Teams Phone, configure and deploy direct routing, configure and manage voice users, and finally, configure, deploy, and manage Teams Phone devices. Thank you for attending, and we hope you enjoy this session. Remember, there are many ways to continue your learning journey, such as Microsoft Learn, where we offer self-paced learning option, and be sure to check the calendar for more Microsoft Virtual Training Day events.